Imagine for a moment that everything you struggle with, every fear, every self-doubt, isn't merely an obstacle to overcome, but a map guiding you toward your true purpose. Think about it. What if the key to understanding who you are and what you're meant to do lies within the very aspects of yourself you've tried to ignore, suppress, or deny? Today, we explore one of the most transformative concepts in psychology and philosophy, Carl Jung's theory of the shadow. But this isn't just about abstract ideas or intellectual discussions. This is about uncovering profound truths that have the power to reshape your life. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand your shadow. You'll see how it holds the secret to your purpose, your potential, and your freedom. And the final revelation we uncover may be the most powerful and life-changing of all. Carl Jung, a pioneer of depth psychology, believed that the shadow is the unconscious part of ourselves that we reject or disown. It consists of all the traits, desires, and aspects of our personality that we deem unacceptable or shameful. Yet paradoxically, within this very shadow lie the seeds of our greatest strengths and the blueprint for a fulfilling life. Think about it. How often do we avoid certain thoughts or behaviors simply because they make us uncomfortable? How often do we judge others for traits that deep down we recognize in ourselves? If you've ever found yourself reacting strongly to someone else's actions, there's a good chance it's because they've touched a hidden part of your own shadow. Jung once wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." The shadow isn't just about darkness, it's about potential. It's about the energy we suppress because we're too afraid or ashamed to face it. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Are there parts of yourself that you try to keep hidden from others, or even from yourself? Maybe it's a fear of failure, a deep-seated anger, or a lingering envy. Perhaps it's a passion or desire you've convinced yourself is impractical or wrong. But what if these aspects of yourself weren't flaws to be eliminated, but messages waiting to be understood? Jung believed that by confronting our shadow, we can integrate it into our conscious awareness, leading to what he called individuation, the process of becoming whole. This journey isn't easy. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to step into the unknown. But the rewards are immeasurable. Jung described individuation as the path to discovering who you truly are. And once you embark on this journey, you may realize that the parts of yourself you feared the most were, in fact, the key to your greatest transformation. Individuation is not just about the persona you present to the world. It is about embracing your complete and authentic self, encompassing both light and shadow. Carl Jung argued that our greatest growth comes not from rejecting our shadow, but from integrating it. Consider this. Every hero in mythology faces a moment of confrontation with their own darkness. Think of the Greek hero Hercules, who had to battle not only external monsters, but also his own rage and flaws. Or Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, who had to confront the darkness within himself before he could truly become a Jedi. These stories mirror our own psychological journeys. The question is, are you willing to take that first step? Are you ready to look at the parts of yourself you've been running from and ask, what are you trying to teach me? Jung's philosophy teaches us that our shadow isn't an enemy, but a guide. It whispers to us through our dreams, fears, and even our relationships. Have you ever had a recurring dream or felt an inexplicable pull toward a particular idea or person? These may be signs of your shadow trying to communicate. The process of working with your shadow begins with awareness. Pay attention to the emotions and reactions that feel disproportionate or intense. These are often clues to the aspects of yourself you've hidden away. Once you identify these traits, the next step is acceptance. This doesn't mean acting on every impulse or indulging every desire. It means acknowledging these parts of yourself without judgment and understanding their role in your life. Imagine how liberating it would be to no longer fear your flaws, but instead see them as tools for growth. Think of how much more authentic and confident you could become by embracing your whole self. In the coming sections, we will delve deeper into how you can identify and integrate your shadow. We'll uncover practical steps for transforming what feels like darkness into light, and explore how this integration can lead you to your life's purpose. And remember, the most profound insight is still to come. Stay with us, because by the end of this journey, you may discover a truth that changes everything. Projection. By the end of this journey, you will have a roadmap, not only for understanding your shadow, but for using it as a guide to your destiny. Let's continue our deep dive into the inner world and uncover the extraordinary potential that lies within. Let's explore the mysterious realm of the shadow and unravel how understanding this hidden aspect of yourself can unlock not only your purpose, but also a profound sense of inner peace. The shadow manifests in countless ways. It appears in our habits, relationships, and especially in our reactions. Have you ever experienced an emotional outburst and later wondered why you reacted so strongly? That moment, where emotion overtakes reason, is often your shadow revealing itself. But why does the shadow have such power over us? Jung believed that its power comes from its unconscious nature. The more we deny or suppress an aspect of ourselves, the more control it gains. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The more force you use, the more violently it resurfaces when you can no longer keep it down. Now, think about this. If you could bring that hidden part to the surface and understand its origins, how much more control would you have over your life? How much freer would you feel? One of the most compelling aspects of shadow work is the idea of projection. Jung argued that when we disown parts of ourselves, we often see those traits in others, amplifying our reactions to them. For instance, if you struggle with feelings of inadequacy, you might criticize those who seem overconfident or dismiss those who excel in areas where you feel insecure. This isn't just a psychological quirk, it's a mirror. The world reflects back to us the parts of ourselves that we have yet to acknowledge. Jung put it this way: knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Take a moment to reflect. Is there someone in your life who triggers a strong emotional response? Perhaps a colleague, a friend, or even a family member. Instead of focusing on their behavior, ask yourself, what does this reaction reveal about me? What part of my shadow am I projecting onto them? This isn't about self-blame, it's about self-discovery. Each projection is an opportunity to reclaim a piece of yourself and bring it into the light of awareness. Let's take this concept even further by exploring how the shadow relates to our purpose. Often, the parts of ourselves we suppress are closely tied to our unique gifts and passions. For example, someone who suppresses their creativity out of fear of failure may find that embracing this hidden side leads them to their life's work. Jung believed that purpose isn't something we find externally, it's something we uncover internally. It's about aligning with our authentic self, which includes both the light and the shadow. In his words, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But how do we begin this process of alignment? It starts with self-inquiry. Ask yourself questions that challenge your assumptions about who you are. What do I fear most about myself? What have I been told is unacceptable about me? What passions or dreams have I abandoned because they felt impractical or unworthy? Write these down. Reflect on them. You might be surprised at what emerges when you give your shadow a voice. Another powerful tool for shadow work is journaling. Jung himself kept extensive journals, using them to explore his unconscious mind. He often encouraged his patients to write down their dreams, as dreams are a direct line to the unconscious. Pay attention to recurring themes or symbols, and ask yourself, what message might my unconscious be trying to convey? Now, let's consider the transformative power of integrating the shadow. Imagine a painter who refuses to use dark colors in their work. Their paintings may be beautiful, but they lack depth and contrast. When we embrace our shadow, we become like an artist who uses the full spectrum of colors, light and dark, to create a masterpiece. Integration doesn't mean acting on every dark impulse or letting the shadow dominate your life. Instead, it means understanding and accepting these aspects as part of your humanity. This acceptance fosters compassion, not only for yourself, but for others. You begin to see that everyone carries a shadow, and this shared experience connects us on a profound level. The journey to embrace your shadow is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. It requires patience, courage, and a commitment to self-growth. But the rewards are immense: clarity about your purpose, a deeper sense of inner peace, and the ability to live authentically. And here's a critical insight. Your purpose isn't just about you. Jung believed that individuation contributes to the collective unconscious, the shared pool of human experience. When you confront your shadow and align with your true self, you don't just transform your own life, you inspire and elevate those around you. In the next section, we'll explore the practical steps to integrating your shadow into daily life. We'll discuss how embracing this hidden side can lead to healthier relationships, greater creativity, and a life that feels truly aligned with who you are. The most profound truth is yet to come. Stay with us as we uncover the ultimate revelation about your shadow and how it holds the key to your destiny. Awareness. It's all about awareness. Think of it like cleaning a cluttered room. You can't organize or truly make use of the space until you first acknowledge the mess. In the same way, you can't integrate your shadow until you recognize its presence. A practical way to start this journey is by tuning into your emotional triggers. The next time you experience a strong reaction, whether it's anger, fear, or even excessive admiration, pause. Ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What does this situation reveal about me? Is there a part of myself that I'm projecting onto this person or event? For example, if you find yourself irritated by someone who seems overly confident, consider this. Does this irritation stem from a part of yourself that feels insecure? Or perhaps their confidence brings up something you've suppressed, your own desire to step into the spotlight? This process of self-inquiry can feel uncomfortable at first. It's tempting to retreat into blame or defensiveness. But remember, the goal isn't to criticize yourself. It's to understand yourself. Each trigger is a doorway to deeper self-awareness. Once you've identified aspects of your shadow, the next step is dialogue. Carl Jung often encouraged his patients to engage with their shadow as if it were a separate entity. This may sound unusual, but it's a powerful way to externalize and understand those hidden parts of yourself. Imagine sitting across from your shadow and asking questions. Why do you feel this way? What are you trying to protect me from? What do you need from me in order to feel acknowledged? This dialogue can happen through journaling, meditation, or visualization. The goal is to create a space where your shadow feels seen and heard. Remember, your shadow isn't your enemy. It's simply a part of you that has been trying, often in a flawed way, to protect or guide you. For many, this process leads to surprising revelations. You might discover that a fear you've carried for years stems from a childhood experience, or that a trait you've suppressed is actually a strength waiting to be unleashed. Now let's explore how this integration impacts your relationships. Your shadow doesn't just shape your inner world, it affects how you connect with others. Often, unresolved aspects of your shadow show up as conflict or tension in relationships. Have you ever found yourself repeatedly clashing with someone over the same issue? Or perhaps you've noticed patterns in your relationships, like attracting the same type of partner or facing similar challenges? Creativity and purpose. I love you. Jung believed that relationships act as mirrors, reflecting our unconscious back to us. When you feel triggered by someone, it's often because they embody a trait or behavior that resonates with your own shadow. By becoming aware of this dynamic, you can transform conflict into growth. Instead of blaming or resenting the other person, ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me about myself? This shift in perspective not only deepens your self-awareness, but also fosters compassion and understanding. Let's take this idea further. How can embracing your shadow enhance your creativity and purpose? Jung argued that the shadow isn't merely a container for negative traits, it's also the source of untapped potential. The energy you use to suppress your shadow can be redirected into creative pursuits. For example, suppressed anger might transform into a driving force for advocacy or social change. A hidden desire for attention could fuel artistic expression or public speaking. When you integrate your shadow, you reclaim the energy that was once spent hiding it, allowing you to channel it into pursuits that align with your authentic self. Think of some of the greatest artists, writers, and leaders in history. Their work often reflects a deep engagement with their own shadows. Frida Kahlo's paintings, for instance, are filled with raw emotion and unflinching honesty about pain and identity. Martin Luther King Jr. channeled his anger at injustice into a movement that transformed the world. Jung himself saw creativity as a pathway to individuation. He believed that by engaging in creative activities, whether through art, writing, or even problem-solving, we access parts of our unconscious, including the shadow. Now, consider your own life. Are there passions or projects you've set aside because they felt too risky or vulnerable? What if these were the very expressions of your true self, waiting to emerge? As you begin to integrate your shadow, you'll notice a shift. The traits and feelings that once seemed overwhelming or shameful will become sources of strength and wisdom. You'll find yourself living with greater authenticity, confidence, and purpose. In the next and final section, we'll reveal the ultimate truth about your shadow and how embracing it can lead to profound transformation, not just for yourself, but for the world around you. Stay with us as we uncover the final, most powerful insight that will tie everything together and illuminate the path to your highest potential. As we arrive at the culmination of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the significance of what we've uncovered. The shadow, that hidden and often feared part of ourselves, isn't a curse to bear. It's a gift waiting to be unwrapped. It holds the key to our authenticity, our creativity, and ultimately our purpose. But what does it mean to truly embrace your shadow? And how can this act of integration transform not only your inner world, but the way you engage with life as a whole? To answer these questions, we must first confront a truth that Jung himself emphasized. We cannot achieve wholeness by rejecting parts of ourselves. Wholeness comes from unity, from bringing all aspects of our being into harmony. Jung famously said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This is the essence of shadow work, not denying the darkness, but understanding it, owning it, and using it to fuel your growth. So how do you make the darkness conscious? One profound way is through acts of vulnerability. When you openly acknowledge your fears, insecurities, and flaws, you take away their power to control you. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the willingness to say, "This is who I am, and I am enough." Consider the relationships in your life. How often do we put on masks, showing only the parts of ourselves we think others will accept? This habit, while understandable, creates a barrier between us and true connection. By embracing your shadow, you give yourself permission to show up fully, allowing others to see and love you for who you really are. This kind of authenticity is magnetic. It draws people in, inspires trust, and fosters deeper, more meaningful relationships. And it's not just about personal connections, it's about the impact you can have on the world. When you integrate your shadow, you stop being at war with yourself. This inner peace radiates outward, influencing how you approach challenges, opportunities, and even your purpose. You become a person who operates from a place of wholeness rather than fragmentation. Let's look at purpose through this lens. Many people spend their lives searching for a sense of meaning, believing it's something external to be discovered. But Jung teaches us that purpose arises from within. It's the natural outcome of aligning with your true self, shadow included. Think about it. Your purpose isn't just what you do, it's who you are. It's the unique combination of your strengths, passions, and even struggles that shape how you contribute to the world. The shadow is an integral part of this equation. It's not a roadblock to your purpose, it's a guide. For example, someone who has struggled with feelings of unworthiness might find their purpose in helping others recognize their own value. Someone who has faced anger or frustration might channel that energy into creating systems of justice or advocacy. Your wounds can become your wisdom. Now let's address the most profound insight of all. Jung believed that integrating the shadow doesn't just transform the individual, it has the potential to transform humanity. Why? Because when you confront your own darkness, you become more compassionate, understanding, and empathetic. You recognize that the struggles you've faced are not unique to you, but are part of the shared human experience. Imagine a world where more people embrace their shadows. Instead of projecting their fears and insecurities onto others, they would own them, heal them, and grow from them. Conflicts would diminish, understanding would deepen, and humanity would move closer to collective enlightenment. This is the true power of shadow work. It's not just about self-improvement, it's about contributing to a more conscious, connected, and compassionate world. As we conclude, I leave you with a challenge. Look within, not just at the parts of yourself you're proud of, but also at the parts you've hidden away. Ask yourself, what is my shadow trying to teach me? How can I use its lessons to live more authentically? What steps can I take today to begin this journey of integration? Remember, this isn't a one-time process, it's a lifelong journey. But each step you take brings you closer to the person you're meant to be, a person of depth, purpose, and wholeness. As we close, I invite you to share your thoughts, reflections, and questions. What has this exploration of the shadow revealed to you? What resonates most deeply? Your insights might inspire someone else to take the first step on their own journey. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter. One where you embrace all of who you are and step boldly into the life you were meant to live. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May you find courage, wisdom, and peace as you continue to explore the depths of your being.